Yeah, well, in the corner, you hear there's Rittenhouse. He's on. You see, I don't know, Dave. Tell Clint how you get a big picture. It's the two
Hold on a
things in the
second.
upper right.
I gotta answer the phone. Just a minute.
It looks normal to me. I don't know why you need to make it bigger.
That was pretty big.
Hey, y'all, it's Bill Tucker. I don't know if you can hear me. I'm on
In
the
general,
phone.
I just get closer to the camera.
They can't see it.
Yes, he can.
Hello?
I'm not sure that I have the ability to adjust this camera. This is a really old computer.
Well, it looks fine. You're centered in the picture and everything.
Yeah,
Well, look who joined.
You look so serious when you came on, Christy.
I did, and I'm sorry about that. Hate to be serious.
You look like yourself, though. That's the good news.
Yay! I'm glad I didn't change in the last, 6 weeks or whatever it's been.
Yeah.
I need a haircut.
Lord. This is
Some old fat guy is in the Mike Huff panel, so I don't know what's going on there. God almighty.
Oh, my. Oh,
What happened?
my.
What happened to him?
He's been working too hard.
Yes.
Need a haircut.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lord.
I'm growing my mullet, man.
You can
I
get
actually let my wife cut my bangs. I think she did a good job.
Man.
you can get a haircut starting Friday.
I'm not.
Oh, is that right?
You
That's
can get
what they said.
COVID-19 while you're getting it too.
Yeah, there you go.
That's, yeah.
Hi, Marta.
Hello, everybody.
Hey.
You look too serious also, Marta.
Uh-oh.
That's just my face.
There she is.
Nah, you have a cheerful face, normally.
Okay, Marta, did you send this connection over to Shannon?
I did. I sent it to Shannon
Okay.
and also Toby Appleton,
Good.
Here, Marta.
University Relations.
Okay,
I'm
good.
here, Marta.
Just making sure I'm like, okay. I sent it out just a few minutes ago to some of the people who are on our list to join our club. Oh, Toby's on. Yay.
Yeah.
Because I thought, we're missing those people, and I'm trying to decide or figure out if there's a way to induct them, to do their orientation like via Zoom and get them inducted so that they're, full-fledged.
Yeah. So for Shannon, when he joins and he is the featured speaker, do you make sure that his screen is the one that everybody sees? Is that something that you control?
Well, usually it depends on if you're in speaker view on your phone or if you are on your computer or if you're in gallery view. Like right now we're in gallery. I'm in gallery view. I don't know if y'all are. We look like the Brady Bunch kind of. Yeah. That's gallery view. But he should be able to go up to the upper, and I can do it too. That way you get just who's the speaker. I'm going to switch it to speaker and you're going to be scared. There you are, Marta.
Says you.
Hi. Oh, and there's
I see my cup.
See?
Hey, everybody.
If you're the speaker, it should go to who's ever speaking now. The problem with that is you don't get to see everybody's smiling face, which you do if you go back to gallery view.
Okay.
So, but while he's speaking, it should light up around his square on what it is. It's like Brady Bunch. It's not Family Feud. It's like Brady Bunch or something other thing. What I'm trying to figure out is how to get a screenshot so that I can get a screenshot of all the smiling faces. I haven't figured that out yet.
Mm.
And if you want to unmute because you want to say something, remember that's down lower, or you actually should be able to unmute I think you can unmute on your little square up in the right-hand corner. You can mute and unmute.
Mm.
Anyway.
I just unmuted. This is Bill Tucker. Can you hear me?
Yes. You're unmuted.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'm
But we
gonna
can't-
mute.
But we can't see you though.
No, you can't.
Christy, can you do a screenshot with your computer? Do you have, are you using Windows 10?
Yeah, I just don't know how to do it.
Okay, you hit Shift, that funny Microsoft button, and S.
Okay, shift the funny Microsoft button.
And
I didn't
S.
know that.
And then you can outline everything you want to copy.
Oh,
Where is the funny Microsoft button?
right next to it.
Right next to the FN button.
Yeah. Only a nerd would know that.
That's right.
Okay. I still don't see it. You gotta tell me, give me more hints.
Okay, go down in the lower left-hand corner.
Oh, the shift in the Microsoft and S?
S, and then you can outline with your mouse whatever you want to copy.
That's pretty cool.
Draw a shape to create draw a shape. Oh, okay.
Yeah, then you just have to, you draw it right around it,
Uh-huh.
okay?
And then hit enter.
And then you got it. And then you can paste it somewhere.
I can paste it somewhere. Well,
Wherever your little heart desires.
well, now I'm gonna have to play with that. I'm writing down your names, by the way. T. David
See,
Jones.
your technical committee is trying to help you.
Thank you. I'm gonna get this technical committee running these meetings. That's what I need to do.
Yeah.
Get y'all setting them up. Cause you got this.
Did
Okay.
you call out to me? Did you call out to me, Christy?
I just said hi.
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 Okay. Hi, how you?
I'm fine. How you?
Just fine.
Let's see.
David's the only guy that's the single committee in the whole club. You know, I'm just one. I think it's wonderful. There, Colonel. Oh, well, there's the other Colonel.
There's Stockton. Who is 746351?
Hey, David, you can't say colonel. There's like 5 million colonels on this call.
That's why you get to call.
Tell me.
That's why you get to call me Commander.
That's
Okay.
right.
Whoever is 746351, if you don't want everyone to know who you are, you're super secret, at least send me a message in chat so I can give you credit for being here. Okay? Okay.
Everybody smile. Come on, don't be so somber.
I
Stockton's
know.
doing a good job of
Stockton's smiling.
Yes.
I don't think I got the whole.
Hey, Charlie. Turn your mute off, brother. Charlie. Charlie.
Okay, now, can you hear me?
There you go.
There we go.
Hey, Charlie.
Hey, George, Judy, how are y'all doing?
Doing great. Doing great.
You're still planning to make an announcement in a little while, correct?
Yeah, hey, we figured this out and we're able to communicate now.
It's good to see the two of you together at a Rotary meeting.
How about that? At the same table, man.
I know.
Andrea Wilson, good to see you.
Christy, who's doing the invocation today?
Todd Odom.
All right, thank you.
In fact,
Oh, we have
here is your agenda.
Oh, okay.
Can everyone see that?
Yes, ma'am.
You bet.
Okay, good. We got 4 minutes. Oh, there's Todd.
Hey, what y'all
Okay.
doing? I'm honored.
Well, I was just telling everybody you were going to do the.
No, I just been listening. I've been on for about 10 minutes just listening.
Oh, okay.
Multitasking.
got 27 on so far.
That's all. Golly.
I know. I'm trying. I try and talk people into it all the time. Hey, Bruce, you wearing your Rotary pin?
Let me grab mine.
Okay, Bruce, are you wearing your Rotary pin?
It's on my sock.
Sock.
Okay, I'm not even gonna ask. Never mind.
Got mine, Christy.
Okay.
Is George taking a nap?
No, I'm just, I'm relaxed.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
No
look,
pressure.
Shannon just got on. The guy.
We're up to 34, 35.
It goes, it's much faster as we get close to 12:15. Oh, John Forrester, good to see you. Woohoo!
John,
And Ashley, where's the baby?
Uh-oh, baby's right here.
Hey! Oh, nice.
Hey, Colt.
Say hi, everybody.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't he cute? Just the cutest
Beautiful.
thing.
Beautiful. Oh my gosh.
Good, gaining weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
That's
do
awesome.
that. They like
And thank
grow
you
and
to
they gain
Stephanie
weight.
Miller. Stephanie got us a Rotary onesie. It's a 6-month size, so it's going to be a little bit before it fits, but we'll have to, once it fits, we'll take a picture and we'll have to send it.
Oh, boy.
That's good.
Clint Morris. Woo!
Hello.
Hey, Clint.
Hey,
Yeah.
Charlie.
Morris and Morse. It is so good to see some of your faces.
Sorry, it has to be this face.
Yeah, it's better than nothing. Better,
No, no, it's not.
Oh,
We're sorry too.
Yeah. This is not your first Zoom, is it, Mike?
As a matter of fact, it really is.
oh, how
In your whole life?
This is my first Zoom. I'm really liking this.
In your whole life?
In my whole life, I am a non-tech kind of guy. Yeah. Look at that little baby.
Ashley's.
as cute as it can be.
Hey, Janelle.
Howdy.
You can hear Roy bonging in the background, but he doesn't have a picture of. Oh.
If you don't have your name on your square, if you could, you can personal message me on chat. If you look at the bottom of your screen, go to other and it'll show a chat. Just let me know, like if that's your phone number. I'm trying to make sure I give everybody credit for checking in today. And I would really appreciate some help because I can't tell, I don't have your phone numbers memorized. Sorry, just no phone
Why not, Christy?
You don't have 170 names memorized?
Slacker.
I'm a slacker. That's right. I'm a slacker, Robin.
Okay, well, it is 12:15, so let's call the meeting to order. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Kerrville. If you would, please go to your Facebook page and let the world know that you're attending the Rotary Club of Kerrville here in Kerrville. And let's start out with the invocation by Troy Odom.
And I'll answer Todd. Hey.
Todd.
Hey, everybody. No, everything's good. Appreciate it. Let us pray. Lord, we just thank you for this awesome, awesome Rotary Club that we have here in Kerrville, Texas. We pray for our nation, and we're just so excited all the love that we've seen over the last couple of months. And we just pray for an awesome meeting, and we just thank you, and we give you all the glory in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
which stands
One
nation
under God,
God,
indivisible,
With liberty and justice for all.
All right.
Does George have a song? I hear you can't do songs on Zoom.
I bet he's got a
Solo,
song in his heart.
George.
I think we need to do it. We need to figure out how to get everybody to sing at the same time, like we do the Pledge of Allegiance. We get a little better coordination.
I hear it doesn't work.
All right. Well, with that, we're going to ask Marta Diffin to introduce our guest speaker today.
Fabulous. Yeah, I'm real pleased to be able to introduce Shannon DeVille. We're delighted he's at Shriner. So he's a Texas native, grew up mostly around Huntsville, Texas, joined the United States Marine Corps right after he graduated from high school. And when he was in the Marines, he served overseas, attached to the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit, conducted operations in the Pacific region, had the opportunity to work alongside and train Philippine Marines. He also served in the southern Helmand province of Afghanistan, and there he worked with both the Afghan National Army and the Afghan National Police. While he was in the Marine Corps, he received 2 Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medals for superior performance. Shannon is married, and so he and his wife found out that they were expecting, so he decided to leave active duty. He went to college at Hardin-Simmons University and graduated summa cum laude, and today he serves, much to our delight, as the director of the Shriner Institute, and also is actively participating in United States Marine Corps Reserves. So welcome, Shannon.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak and to tell you a little bit about the Shriner Institute and what we have going on at Shriner University. So to start, I'd like to just tell you that there's basically 3 parts to the program. We'll be servicing veterans, those with intent to commission as an officer in the military, and then the academy, military academy prep portion. So like Marta stated, I was on active duty in the United States Marine Corps before I transitioned out to go to college. That transition is not something that comes easy to many of our veterans. And so after experiencing that firsthand, I really had a desire to figure out how to help other students going through similar experiences make that transition a little bit easier. So while at Hardin-Simmons, I took classes underneath Dr. Frampton, Travis Frampton, who's now the university provost at Shriner University. And whenever he got to Shriner, he found out that Greystone was going to be departing with the prep portion, the academy prep portion, and asked if I would be interested in coming over and helping stand up Shriner Institute to better service our veterans that we do have on campus, but also those that to commission later on. So I'll start off by talking a little bit about our veteran services. The intent is to help those individuals in the Hill Country who are veterans, who are making that transition out, to make it as seamless as possible. So one of the things that I was doing prior to Corona and the COVID virus was meeting with individuals throughout the community to help figure out and connect resources available.
Okay, I'm trying to get him back. Shannon? Hold on a minute.
You're on mute, Shannon.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yes.
hold on. Everybody try and just, I'm going to mute everyone because we don't need to actually hear a toilet flushing in the background. So,
Wow.
I'm just
God.
saying, Shannon, I'm gonna mute everyone and then unmute you, okay? You
Okay.
got me?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear
Got
me?
Okay, hold on.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, so we're good?
Yeah, sorry.
Not a problem. But basically, I want to make sure that we're conveying that how much we want to help the veterans throughout our hill country and the surrounding areas. And one of the real reasons for having this presentation or this talk is to try to connect resources available in our local community to those veterans that we're going to be serving here on campus, and then as well as informing you about steps we'll be taking and plugging in, how do we plug in the students that are seeking commissions later after completion of college or at one of the military academies. So I want to reserve some time for input from individuals in the audience, as well as any questions you may have. So just getting back to the veteran population, the hope is to have where Greystone occupied before, I would like to set up a veterans center on campus where they have a local space that they know they can go to, where there's other veterans like myself or any other future employees within the Shriner Institute, as well as that's where we have an ROTC program stood up that is current and effective as of the 28th of April, with a crosstown agreement with the University of Texas at San Antonio. That's in place, and we'll be rolling that out in fall, whether we're in person or virtual. I've spoke with the UTSA crosstown coordinator, and that program will be in effect whether we're in person or virtual. So I think that's really key to the success of students who are seeking a commission that aren't wanting to go the route of a military academy. So what that looks like for our students is they'll be full-time students at Shriner University. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, they'll actually go down to UTSA, which will provide transportation for them to do so. On Tuesday mornings, they'll PT, do physical training there on campus, and then they'll come back to the Shriner University campus and have classes as any other student there on the Shriner campus. On Thursdays, they'll go to the UTSA campus for morning PT, and then they'll actually be there for the remainder of the day, and they take a leadership course in the afternoon that's put on by the United States Air Force. There's 4 commissioned officers there that work full-time teaching these classes and helping coordinate the activities that they'll be conducting while on campus there. And then any other time that they're not on the UTSA campus, so any other day of the week, they'll be on the Shriner campus in our local community, plugged in, helping contribute to community service and things of that nature, which is another piece where I think can be really vital in getting feedback from this group as to ideas of plugging those students in, similar to what Greystone did before they left campus. I think that's something that we really want to overemphasize and keep at the forefront of what we're doing for the local community as well. So those students, after 4 years, will obtain a degree from Shriner University, and then they would commission as second lieutenants in the United States Air Force. If that program goes really successful, there's an opportunity to also have an ROTC affiliation with the Army, which is also offered at UTSA. And we're looking at a way, though they currently require that the students be on campus 3 days a week, which is the reason we went with the Air Force rather than the Army, because the Air Force only requires 2 days a week. So if we're able to figure out a way for there to be a less time obligation at the UTSA campus, we would definitely consider moving forward to have 2 branches of service that we could be feeding these young leaders into to create, the next generation of our armed forces. So the academy prep portion will be very similar to what Greystone was doing. We will continue to have community outreach. These students will come to us for 1 year with the goal in mind that they will be appointed to one of the service academies at the end of that year. We currently are working setting up that program and beginning the process of actually bringing some of those students into our program. Right now they're receiving the students that are being rejected from the academies are receiving those letters right now. So we're working diligently to try to reach out to some of them in our local area to find out what their interest would be in doing the academy prep portion at Schreiner University. And we're also working with someone who was plugged in with Greystone to help facilitate that in a manner that we are able to do it successfully. So the goal would be that we get 100% accepted and appointments after that remedial year. And those students will have programming in place that focuses heavily on the academics. So what the academies look for is academics, leadership and character, and then physical readiness. So our programs will be set up to have an academically rigorous schedule, a lot of upper level classes that would be taken at Schreiner University. And then the leadership and character portion will be built in, as well as the physical, where we'll have morning PT with them on a regular schedule as well to help get the students that may not have been there just physically prepared so that they can pass the requirements to get into the academies as well. These students will also participate in our ROTC program. So they will begin to be familiarized with the Air Force. While it's not every branch of service, it's still a branch of service. So it brings that military mindset to the forefront of what they're doing on a daily basis. So at this point, I would like to get some feedback and maybe just ask for any questions you may have as members of the Rotary Club to see what we can do to better serve the community as well.
And I have a question. This is
Yes,
Charlie
sir.
McElvain. Will any of the credits that they receive their year at Schreiner count towards credits at their academy once they're accepted?
So traditionally what happens is they waive those credits. Actually, there's not a single service academy that accepts any credits from other universities. So while the student is taking classes here, they'll be, as soon as they get there, they'll have to retake the courses. But what that does for them is it allows them to have the possibility to test out, because that is something that they offer. While you're not able to receive credit from another university, you can test out. So if those students are knowledge base is sound enough, they could potentially test out and then take a sophomore level class their freshman year, which then frees up space later for electives their junior and senior year.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Other questions for Shannon?
Hey, this is Jacques DeBose. I have a question for Shannon regarding the Veteran Center and kind of what would take place, what the vision is for that Veteran Center. I'm a Navy veteran, had the good fortune of serving in the world's finest Navy, so I just thought maybe you can share a little bit more about that.
Yes, sir. So what the hope is there is we have a student center on campus currently where there's pool tables and couches and just a lounge area. But after talking to many of the veterans that we have on campus in person over the last several months, it sounds as though they don't feel as comfortable in those areas just due to the age gap or life experience differences. The hope would be that we would create a space within the facilities that are already in place where they know that as a veteran, rather than going and sitting in your car and studying alone, to just be separate from the younger crowd, you have a place where you can feel at home, where you can walk in and you can know that there's other people in that room that if you just need to talk about something that's very different than college or other life experiences in general, that they would feel safe to have that space to just go in and just kind of build some camaraderie there that you don't find necessarily when you're a non-traditional student. I think that's one of the largest or the bigger struggles that transitioning veterans have, and just non-traditional students in large have, is connecting with that younger population that are coming straight out of high school. So the hope would be that, and even having some student resources as far as to tutoring or anything that they may need to help plug them into the resources that are available. Because a lot of, I feel as a veteran and from the ones that I've spoke to, a lot of them don't want to ask for help because you're taught for so long to be independent, to do these things on your own, that we sometimes struggle in asking for that help. So having a space where they could feel comfortable to even talk about that without judgment would be the goal in that center.
Yeah, I'd love to visit with you offline on some possible services we could offer. Red Cross does a lot for the military at no charge and veterans. So maybe there's something we could provide that they would find beneficial at the Veterans Center or even virtually. So I'd love to visit with you on that sometime.
I would really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Other questions?
Shannon, Jeff Harris and Semper Fidelis, brother. So are you going to be structuring this kind of the same way as Greystone was, where the students are going to live together there like Greystone Academy was? And also, you mentioned that you have people that were plugged into Greystone that are still going to help. And I know that our former chief of police here was real big into it, John Young, and he's also a retired Marine lieutenant colonel. Have you talked to him?
No, sir, I haven't. I'm going to write that name down real quick so that I have it.
All right. He is actually in Bull Verde now, but he was very active with Greystone the last couple of years.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, the students will live. We're actually going to be occupying the same space that Greystone occupied on campus. So they're in the final stages of departing campus, and we will be coming in and occupying that space. That's actually where I want the Veteran Center to be as well. So there's housing there that is set up very similar to military barracks. The ROTC students and the academy prep portion of the Shriner Institute will all be housed in that same area. And then the veterans, we're looking at an option to possibly be able to house veterans using their housing stipend. This is not set in stone by any stretch of the imagination yet, but another large challenge that veterans have whenever transitioning out is they get a housing stipend while they're enrolled in classes, but with classes having breaks, you then have a break in income for housing. And that can create a lot of tension for the veterans. And then they end up leaving school because they want to just get into a career where they're having a constant income. And so for those students, we're looking at options to possibly be able to take what they would receive as a full-time student throughout the year and then break that up to where they would have a housing location, whether it be one of our apartments on campus or the dorms, at a rate where they would be taken care of and wouldn't have to worry about the month gaps in between certain breaks.
Awesome. And one last thing, Shannon, and I'll shut my trap, but is this a program that our veterans are going to be able to utilize the GI Bill, or if they're from Texas, the Hazelwood Act on?
Yes, sir. So the GI Bill can be used at Shriner University. Unfortunately, the Hazelwood Act is not, because we are a private institution. The Hazelwood Act only covers Texas state schools.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Ashley
Other
Phillips,
questions?
you had a question? Ashley?
Can you get that?
Ashley? Okay, the question is.
This is Gerald Erie, and I had a question.
Oh, okay. Let me do Ashley's real quick, and then Gerald, you're next. Is there a way the Rotary Club can support you? There's the question, Shannon.
I believe the best way that Rotary Club could support us is just by being there in response to any, whenever we're reaching out for community outreach, places we can plug into the community to then give back to Kerrville at large. I think that's going to be one of the biggest areas we'll need assistance in, is just knowing where our resources and time can be spent in a valuable way to give back to our community here.
Shannon, thank you for responding. I don't know if you remember meeting me the last time you were there in person, but I'd love to be a resource to plug you into different nonprofit opportunities in the community to if your guys are still going to be doing that like Greystone did.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of that has been put on hold to an extent just because of us being virtual. But once we're on campus and able to plug in with the community in person, I still have your business card and be looking forward to those.
Absolutely.
Okay,
I think Gerald had a question.
Yeah, I had a question. This may not be a fair one for you, but we all know that the Shriner program before was very successful in getting people into the military academies. Do you have any idea how many of those people who got in actually finished their military training?
Unfortunately, I don't know the specific answer to that. I do know that they had a very high rate of appointment. However, I know that just at large, the academies have a pretty high number of turnover for those that are appointed but then do not complete the programs.
Thank you.
Okay, we've got time for a few more questions. Anybody else have a question?
Charlie, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Well, then I have a question for Shannon. Shannon, since you're starting the academy part of this from scratch, tell us a little bit about what's your plan to recruit folks for that part of your program, and what sort of instructors are you going to have, or how's that all going to work?
Yes, sir. So I met with West Point recruiter just last week to get some ideas, as well as just find out more about the process. We are also going to be working with Kenneth O'Neill. He's going to be remaining behind from Greystone. He was very plugged into the process and has a lot of connections that I don't have, frankly. He and I have been working closely on developing this new program and what it's going to look like, as well as knowing the locations in which we'll be reaching out to try to get these students who are receiving those rejection letters right now. So a lot of it right now, as I understand it, is through high school counselors that are very informed about their students and where they're planning to go, and who have known about Greystone being here in the past, who are now looking for a place to recommend these students to go to. And then as far as instruction, as I mentioned before, Kenneth O'Neill is remaining behind. He was plugged into the way that they were doing things, from time management. There's a whole curriculum that's being built out currently to usher in these new students as they come in. So we're still developing a lot of that.
Are you going to be able to get the academy off the ground this fall?
Yes, sir. That is the intention. We're not looking to have the number of students that Greystone had, only because we want to ensure in the beginning that we are doing it properly, that we're not saying, hey, we can get you an appointment to one of these academies without running through the process at least 1 or 2 years with a smaller number of students. So the projected goal right now for this year is to have 5 students that we're aiming to get appointments at the academies, rather than the 20 plus students that Greystone had previously.
Okay. Other questions? Anybody else have a question? If not, Shannon, we do appreciate you being with us today, and we wish you great success with your new venture on campus. And we do encourage you to contact us if we can assist you in any way. So thank you for your commitment, and thanks for being with us today.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I really appreciate everyone taking the time to hear what I had to say, and then just being willing to assist. That's huge, and I think it speaks highly of the community connection to Shriner University as a whole. So I really appreciate the time.
I was going to say thank you, Marta, for making arrangements to bring Shannon in today.
Oh, sure. Happy to.
All right. Well, let's move on to families in Rotary. Stephanie Miller.
Yes, sir. As many of you know, Charlie sent out earlier this week that we lost Bill Muldoon. And just keep Nancy in your prayers as she suffers that loss. And prayers go out to Marianne Wofford. She fell, I believe, yesterday and broke her hip. And she also has Parkinson's, so she's having surgery today at 2 o'clock to fix that hip. So keep her in your prayers. And her son, Brian, will keep us informed on how she's doing. So.
Okay.
That's
By the
all
way,
I have.
we did recognize the board approved honorary membership to Bill, and then also the club sent flowers to Nancy yesterday. So
No, thank you. I saw Jeff Anderson's name on here, and I don't know if he's listening, but it's good to see him back.
it is good to have Jeff back. And speaking of Jeff, would you like to give us an update on the scholarship program, or Jeff, are you still with us?
I'm here, but I can't be heard.
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, thank you. Yes, we're making progress in this crazy world we have right now, really not being able to predict the future. The school districts feel confident that they're going to be heading back to school in August. And so we're planning to now do the awards luncheon the first Wednesday in August. And that'll allow us to have a little bit of time to prepare and for it to be the week before the schools reconvene to begin their in-house teacher sessions. So we're rapidly close to being able to give MARTA and Shriner University the names of the 16 students Shriner will be awarding scholarships to. And we're working away right now to get all of the personal information about the kids and quotes and background and photos and et cetera, so that we're capable of doing the newspaper promotion as we've done in the past. So things are pretty much on progress, just with a little bit of adaptation. But we sure look forward to doing it and appreciate all that everybody's doing to help us collaborate this project this year.
Okay. Thanks, Jeff. I know either George or Judy was going to make an announcement about the food bank project.
Yes, can you hear me, Charlie?
We can hear you, Judy. Go right ahead.
Right, thank you. No, just wanted to let everybody know, in case somebody who did not know, about the food relief fund that we've set up through the Community Foundation. And no fees are attached to this. The foundation's not asking for anything. They're handling the in and the out of this without any asking for any compensation. The money is going to local food entities: CAM, St. Peter's de Paul, St. Vincent's de Paul, I'm sorry, the Doyle Community, and Mustard Seed Ministries. And I think we've given a little bit to a couple other entities that supply food, but these are the main ones. Our goal was $50,000. We have raised $45,000, so we just got $5,000 to go. And we have are allocated to different entities, $33,000. So the money is, if you've seen the paper and the articles about the Mustard Seed Ministry and the mobile food pantry that they had, all of those that does not come free. They pay for all of that. So that's what this money is going towards. all of these entities that are have been giving out food, I mean, their numbers have just, I mean, they've tripled more than once. So, and the mobile food pantry that came in had 64,000 pounds of food. And, normally, Mustard Seed Ministry does about 12,000. So, one of the biggest areas for people, those of course who have lost their jobs. The other area that we found so many people, single people who normally their neighbors, their friends or family members would pick up food for them, but because of the stay in place, they have not been doing that. So we just, we ask if anybody has some extra money and would like to donate to this, we would really, really appreciate it. And just know again that every cent that you give goes out, and no fees whatsoever.
All right, very well, Judy. We do appreciate your working on that, and thank you for making this presentation today.
Judy, how do we go about doing that? Do we just go on the Community Foundation's website?
Yes, and when you pull it up, the Food Relief Fund will be right there. You can use a credit card, send them a check, either one of those.
Awesome. Thank
you. Started up a utility relief fund for people. The city has forgiven and held back utility payments, but as soon as this is over, those are all going to come due. And so there's on the same website, if you want to donate money to the utility fund, you can do that too. So got options for the $130 in Rotary food money that you didn't spend in the last couple of months.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Also wanted to check, we have one of the Rotarians that needs to use the cornhole game boards. We had those stored at Rick's Furniture, and somebody had picked them up, and we're trying to locate those now. So if you know where the cornhole game is, or if you have them, if you'll contact me, we'll get those over to the other Rotarian that needs them. The other thing I wanted to point out is tomorrow at noon, Mayor Blackburn and Mark McDaniel will be holding a prayer vigil. They're doing that at noon each Thursday, and we want to encourage each of you to participate in that. Now, you don't have to go anywhere. You can stay right at your home or your yard and just observe some quiet time during noon. The chimes from City Hall will be played. And Judy, you might correct me on this. I know it's on Thursday, but I think it's each day at noon until we get through this pandemic. Is that correct?
I think it's just Thursday at noon, Charlie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. But anyhow, let me encourage you to participate in that. Next week, Carolina Valpondo, publisher of the Kerrville Daily News, Kerrville Daily Times, will be our speaker, talking about the history and the future of the Kerrville Daily Times. And then on May 20th, Tom Terrell will present our Memorial Day program.
Awesome.
Any questions, comments, observations, anything that anybody would like to add to the program today? Okay, well, seeing none, if you'll please join me in the four-way test of the things that we think, say,
Truth,
concern,
build better friendships. Okay, have a productive week. We are adjourned. Thank you.
y'all. Charlie.
Bye.
Everybody. Good afternoon.